Change is one of the most consistent forces in our lives. It's inevitable, unavoidable, and yet we often resist it. Change is something we all face, whether it's in our personal lives, our careers, or society as a whole. Despite its certainty, change can be incredibly uncomfortable. We may experience fear, anxiety, and even frustration when faced with change. It's natural to seek stability and predictability, and change often disrupts that sense of control. But understanding why change feels uncomfortable is the first step toward embracing it. At the core of this discomfort lies our deep-rooted desire for security. Our brains are wired to seek patterns, to find comfort in the known. When something new arises, it triggers a sense of uncertainty, and that uncertainty can lead to stress. We are creatures of habit, and our brains resist altering the familiar because it forces us to step out of our comfort zones. Yet it's precisely by stepping out of these zones that we unlock new opportunities and growth. Change also brings with it a sense of loss. Even if the change is positive, it requires us to let go of the old and embrace the new. This can evoke feelings of grief as we mourn what we're leaving behind. It's important to acknowledge that even positive change comes with its own set of challenges. When we move to a new city, start a new job, or enter a new phase in life, we are letting go of something familiar. This loss, whether big or small, can trigger a fear of the unknown. What if the new thing doesn't live up to our expectations? What if we fail in this new environment? These questions can create resistance to change. It's human nature to fear the unknown, but this fear often holds us back from realizing our full potential. Learning to navigate the discomfort that comes with change is crucial for personal development. As much as we might wish for the certainty of the familiar, we must remember that change is also a catalyst for growth. Without change, we would remain stagnant, trapped in old patterns and ways of thinking. Growth requires us to stretch beyond our current limits, to take risks and face challenges head-on. The discomfort we feel during times of change is a sign that we are pushing ourselves to evolve. Think about it, every major breakthrough in human history has come from someone or something embracing change. Whether it's a scientist discovering a new theory, an entrepreneur launching a startup, or an individual transforming their life, growth always involves change. The discomfort is not something to be feared, but rather something to be embraced as part of the journey toward progress. However, embracing change doesn't mean ignoring the discomfort. It's important to acknowledge the emotions that come with change and to process them. When we resist our feelings, we only make the transition more difficult. Instead of avoiding the discomfort, we should lean into it, recognizing that it's a natural part of the growth process. By accepting the discomfort, we give ourselves permission to move forward. It's also helpful to reframe our mindset about change. Instead of seeing it as something to fear, we can choose to see it as an opportunity. Every change, whether it's a new job, a new relationship, or a new habit, brings with it a chance to learn something new, to expand our horizons, and to discover more about ourselves. The key is to shift our perspective so that we begin to view change not as a threat, but as a gift. One of the most powerful ways to embrace change is to develop resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to adapt to new circumstances, and to keep going even when things don't go as planned. It's about having the mental and emotional strength to weather the storm of change and come out stronger on the other side. Building resilience takes time and practice, but it's one of the most important skills we can develop. It involves cultivating a growth mindset, which is the belief that we can improve and learn from our experiences, no matter how challenging they may be. Resilience doesn't mean that we won't experience pain or discomfort during times of change, but it means that we will have the inner strength to navigate those challenges and keep moving forward. Another key to embracing change is patience. Change doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process that takes time. When we expect immediate results, we set ourselves up for disappointment. The discomfort we feel during change is often amplified by our impatience. We want things to settle quickly, to return to normal. But the truth is that change requires time to fully integrate. By practicing patience, we allow ourselves the space to adjust and grow. This means giving ourselves permission to make mistakes, to stumble, and to learn along the way. The process of change is often messy, but it's through that messiness that we find our greatest lessons and growth. To truly embrace change, we also need to let go of perfectionism. The desire to control every aspect of change can make it even more difficult to navigate. Perfectionism often arises when we fear failure or want to ensure that everything goes according to plan. But change is inherently unpredictable. No matter how much we plan or prepare, things won't always go as expected. And that's okay. Letting go of the need for perfection allows us to be more flexible and open to the unknown. So why is it this explosive growth and open to the unknown? We can take risks, make mistakes, and learn from them, all while trusting that we are still on the right path. Perfectionism only holds us back from fully embracing the opportunities that change brings. It's also important to surround ourselves with support when navigating change. Change can be a lonely experience, especially when it challenges our sense of identity or security. Having a support system, whether it's friends, family, mentors, or colleagues, can provide us with the encouragement and perspective we need during times of transition. Sometimes, simply talking to someone who has gone through a similar experience can help us feel less alone and more capable of handling the challenges ahead. Support can come in many forms, from emotional encouragement to practical advice, but the key is to lean on others when we need it. No one has to go through change alone, and having a strong support system can make the journey much easier. As we continue to embrace change, it's essential to celebrate our progress along the way. Change is a long journey, and it's easy to get discouraged if we only focus on the end result. But every small step we take toward embracing change is an accomplishment. Whether it's overcoming a fear, learning a new skill, or simply adjusting to a new routine, these milestones deserve recognition. By celebrating our progress, we reinforce the idea that change is something we can handle and that we are capable of growing through it. These small celebrations can serve as reminders that the discomfort we feel is temporary and that the rewards of change are worth the effort. In conclusion, while change may always feel uncomfortable, it is an essential part of life and growth. By understanding why change feels difficult and learning how to embrace it, we can transform the discomfort into a powerful tool for personal and professional development. The discomfort we feel is not a signal to retreat, but an invitation to move forward, to expand, and to evolve. By developing resilience, practicing patience, letting go of perfectionism, and seeking support, we can navigate change with greater ease and confidence. Change may not always be easy, but it is through embracing it that we find our true potential and unlock the path to a brighter, more fulfilling future. Change is a concept that we encounter daily in life, yet it often feels like a foreign and uncomfortable force. It can take many forms: personal transformation, shifting work environments, or societal upheaval. Despite the inevitability of change, it's something most people resist, not because they dislike progress, but because the process of change itself challenges their sense of stability. The discomfort arises from the fear of the unknown. When faced with change, our brains instinctively react by seeking patterns, comfort, and predictability. The familiar is reassuring, while the unfamiliar invokes uncertainty, making us anxious and sometimes paralyzed by fear. This response is deeply rooted in our biology. As human beings, we are wired to prefer consistency and routine because it offers a sense of safety. So when change disrupts this routine, we feel as though we're being thrown off course, even though change is often necessary for growth. One of the reasons change feels so uncomfortable is because it forces us to confront the possibility of failure. Change involves stepping into uncharted territory where success is not guaranteed. This uncertainty triggers our innate fear of failure, a fear that has been ingrained in us over thousands of years of evolution. In our early days as a species, failure could mean danger or even death. As a result, our brains have evolved to be highly attuned to risks, and change, by its very nature, presents risk. The thought of venturing into the unknown can trigger feelings of vulnerability and insecurity. These feelings, while natural, can prevent us from fully embracing change. Instead of seeing it as an opportunity for growth, we may view it as a threat to our well-being. Furthermore, change often requires us to break free from established habits and behaviors. Habits are comforting because they require little mental energy. They become automatic over time, and we don't have to think about them consciously. When change requires us to develop new habits, whether it's adopting a new mindset or learning a new skill, it demands a level of effort and attention that can feel exhausting. The discomfort arises from the cognitive load involved in the process of unlearning old habits and forming new ones. It can be a mentally and emotionally draining experience. Yet it is in this very discomfort that the seeds of personal growth are planted. To grow, we must be willing to shed the old and make space for the new, which requires an open mind and the courage to face the challenges that come with transformation. Another factor contributing to the discomfort of change is the fear of loss. Change often brings with it the prospect of losing something familiar. Whether it's a relationship, a job, or a part of our identity, loss can be an emotionally taxing experience. This sense of loss can lead to grief, even if the change ultimately benefits us in the long run. The fear of loss can cloud our judgment and make us reluctant to embrace change, even when it is for the better. We may hold on to what we know out of a desire to preserve the status quo, but this resistance to change can limit our potential. The truth is that growth often involves letting go of something in order to make room for something better. It is through loss that we learn resilience and develop the capacity to embrace new opportunities. The discomfort of change is not only psychological, but also social. We are social creatures, and our relationships with others play a significant role in shaping our behavior and perceptions. When we undergo personal changes, especially those that deviate from societal norms, we may fear judgment or rejection. Social pressure can make us feel as though we are betraying the expectations of others. We believe that painful changes may be necessary, and that social pressure can make us feel as though we are betraying the expectations of others. This can lead to feelings of isolation and alienation, making the process of change even more difficult. We might hesitate to embrace change because we worry about how others will perceive us. However, it's important to recognize that personal growth often requires stepping outside of societal expectations and forging our own path. While it may be uncomfortable in the short term, the rewards of embracing change far outweigh the discomfort of conforming to outdated norms. Yet, despite the discomfort that accompanies change, it is essential to understand that change is an integral part of life. Without change, there can be no progress. Growth, whether personal or collective, requires a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones. Embracing change is not about avoiding discomfort. It's about recognizing that discomfort is a necessary part of the journey. When we learn to navigate the discomfort of change, we open ourselves up to new experiences, new opportunities, and new ways of thinking. Change, though uncomfortable, is often the catalyst for transformation. It is through change that we develop resilience, adaptability, and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. It effectively leads to greater and greater understanding of ourselves and the world around us. In order to embrace change, it's important to reframe our perspective on discomfort. Instead of seeing discomfort as something to avoid, we can choose to view it as a sign of growth. Discomfort is a natural part of the process of expanding our boundaries and exploring new possibilities. The more we expose ourselves to change, the more we become accustomed to the discomfort that accompanies it. Over time, we develop the mental and emotional flexibility to adapt to new situations with greater ease. This shift in perspective is crucial in helping us navigate change with confidence and resilience. Rather than viewing change as something to fear, we can learn to approach it with curiosity and openness and serenity. Another key to embracing change is cultivating a growth mindset. People with a growth mindset believe that their abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and perseverance. They view challenges as opportunities for learning rather than as obstacles to avoid. By adopting a growth mindset, we can reframe the discomfort of change as a natural part of the learning process. When we embrace challenges and see them as opportunities for growth, we are more likely to persist in the face of adversity. This mindset shift enables us to approach change with a sense of empowerment rather than fear. It allows us to recognize that the discomfort we experience is not a sign of failure, but rather a sign that we are on the path to becoming better versions of ourselves. One of the most effective ways to embrace change is to take small, incremental steps. Large, sweeping changes can feel overwhelming, and the prospect of making a major transformation can be paralyzing. However, by breaking down the change into manageable steps, we can reduce the sense of overwhelm and make the process feel more achievable. Small wins along the way provide a sense of accomplishment and momentum, which can help us stay motivated and committed to the change process. Taking gradual steps also allows us to build confidence and gain experience in navigating change. With each small success, we become more comfortable with the discomfort of change and better equipped to handle the challenges that lie ahead. In the last chapter, I shared with you the definition of complacency and the two words that lie within it. Ultimately, embracing change is a lifelong process. It is not something that happens overnight, but rather something that requires continuous effort and practice. As we encounter new challenges and opportunities, we will inevitably experience discomfort, but we will also grow stronger and more adaptable as a result. By developing the skills to navigate change with grace and resilience, we can transform discomfort into a powerful tool for personal growth. The more we embrace change, the more we unlock our potential and the possibilities that lie ahead. Change, though difficult, is not something to fear. It is something to embrace as an essential part of the human experience. Change is often uncomfortable, even though it is a constant and inevitable part of life. Whether it is a shift in personal circumstances, professional responsibilities, or even internal emotional growth, change can evoke feelings of anxiety, fear, and resistance. These reactions stem from the inherent uncertainty that change brings. When we are faced with something new, our brains naturally revert to a survival mechanism that prioritizes the familiar and the safe. This instinct to cling to the known often leaves us feeling disoriented or vulnerable. It's the fear of the unknown, the possibility of failure, or the discomfort of letting go of what we have known for so long. In the face of change, we may question our abilities, wonder if we are making the right choices, or doubt whether the new path will lead to the desired outcome. This discomfort is not a reflection of our capabilities or worth. It is simply the mind's way of navigating the unfamiliar terrain of growth. As humans, we are creatures of habit, and while habits offer stability, they can also keep us trapped in a cycle of stagnation.